Hey everyone, what's going on? It's FTJ, back with a movie review. Just got out from seeing IMAX 3D SpiderMan Homecoming. Um, I'll just kind of, for this one, I know before I've been doing the pros and cons. I think I'm shortening a little bit and just do um, just a quick movie review. Um, just gonna go over a couple of things, not really any spoilers. Um, you know, I'll kind of go over what I thought about the movie. I'll put it like that. Okay. Um, okay. First things first. It's a way different Spider-Man. I mean, I know they've tried like two other franchises of Spider-Man. I think one was Fox or whatever. This is Disney, I guess technically, and then whatever the other one with Emma Stone was, and Edward Garfield, if that's his name, I don't remember. So this one, it's a younger crowd. It gears towards a real young crowd. The movie is definitely like 70% a high school drama. Everybody in the movie is really young. There's not too many Avengers in the movie except for Iron Man, who pops in and out four or five different times, a little bit longer towards the end. I think he's just there to help support the movie. It seems like a lower budget Marvel movie. They didn't put too much into it. The things that kind of popped out, popped out at me was there's a big. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. Actually, it's a good thing. I shouldn't say it's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess technically it's a good thing. There's a big diversity of ethnicities in this movie. His best friend, who is down at the bottom of this poster that's on the screen, is a Mexican guy. So I like how Disney's going towards that diversity. Some people who are purists, of the original Marvel comics, I guess, are not going to be happy. For me, it didn't bother me. It's just different. What more bothered me is how the movie is just really young. It seemed like a Saturday morning cheesy little kid sitcom or something you would see on Nick Jr. I'm gonna just throw this out there. Like, let's say, and it's the only thing I can think of because I'm way older than any of that. But like maybe the Amanda Bynes or Miley Cyrus shows that they had with those little kids. It reminded me of something like that. It's just corny little high school drama. People have crush on each other, and I guess we're spoiled with all the Avenger movies that have come out. It just kind of feel like, I'm not saying that Marvel has jumped the shark. It's just kind of like, it's just like they took like they mailed it in. Let's say that it's just one of those movies that they kind of like, all right, just put a bunch of crap together, put a bunch of kids in it, give it like a small little budget, and let it go, let it fly, see what happens. Um, Everybody's just really young, and I guess we're spoiled. I honestly think that we forget that he is just a 14-year-old kid, and if you want to see a Spider-Man movie, you're gonna have to see what a 14-year-old goes through on a daily basis when he's not Spider-Man. And I kind of jumped around, so let me go back to it. A lot of diversity in the movie. His best friend is Mexican, so that's kind of I like how Disney's kind of like sticking up for, I guess, diversity in Hollywood. He has a high school crush who is half African American, half Caucasian, and this is gonna be a spoiler. So I'll give it a couple of seconds if anybody wants to like turn the volume down or not, and doesn't want to hear. It's just like you find it out towards the end of the movie, and you find out that one of the people that he's been talking to, and I don't know if they just never say her name or maybe most people just didn't put two and two together, but you find out that all the time somebody that he's been talking to is Mary Jane, who is also, a minority, somebody with some ethnicity, of an ethnic type background. So they really took a sharp turn and put in a lot of diversity in the movie, and I can see that's why they did it with this movie. They almost like tested it, They gave it to me. It felt like not the greatest movie, not the biggest budget, not the most action. But aside from all that, and I try not to ramble on. I'm just trying to kind of throw things at you that jumped out at me. And always comment if you didn't like what I said or if you thought something different. I know a couple of people did comment on my last movie. I think it was Transformers. So I never get upset. I never get upset with trolls on the internet. They're there, and I guess I used to be a troll. Everybody trolls, but you can always comment. I mean, it's good criticism. So tell me how you feel. But what I liked about the movie was Michael Keaton. He did a great job. The other thing that kind of jumped out at me is his character is almost like, and you would have to be a big movie goer to know what I'm going to be saying pretty soon. That his character is like Birdman. He basically took the Birdman character from his movie 3 years ago, gave him a metal suit, and put it in a Marvel movie. Some of you might not agree. Some of you might not know what I'm talking about. Some of you are probably going to agree if you can see it. And it might be a far stretch, but I like that Birdman character. And it kind of almost, I know Birdman wasn't a Marvel movie. It was just a small little low-budget movie that Michael Keaton did. So it kind of like made you always wonder when you saw Birdman, maybe what Birdman was like. Well, here's your answer. This is kind of like they just stole Birdman, threw him in a Marvel movie. Now you know what Birdman was like. These are just a couple things that jumped out at me. The couple things that jumped out maybe I didn't like. Maybe they sold it to me and I kind of took the bait. As you would think that Robert Downey Jr. is in the movie for a decent amount. You would think Iron Man's in a movie for a decent amount of time. He really isn't. Like I said, he pops in and out of the movie 5 different times, maybe a little bit more towards the end. Gwyneth Paltrow pops in at the end a little bit. And the main other character is just this guy Hogan, the guy with the black and white outfit, a tie. He's like basically the babysitter for for Spider-Man, Peter Parker. But like I said, the title says Homecoming because it's about a homecoming dance towards the end, and it's a play on words because he's, I guess, finally joining the Avengers. Only other thing I thought was cool was they intertwined Avengers a little bit in the beginning of the movie. So the Avengers movie and the Spider-Man movie, you see, and they did that with another movie. I can't remember what it was. Where was it Thor? I think it was Thor, or no, they did it with Superman. My fault. I think it was Superman or something like that. Where like you would have to have seen, it was Batman, Superman, and then Superman, Man of Steel. Where like you would have to have seen the previous movie to get the Joker, saw what was going on, how they intertwined this movie and that at the same time. So that I thought that was cool. For me personally, I'm not one to hate on movies. I understand it's a risk when you see movies, but it wasn't the greatest movie. Like I said, it felt like they kind of gave it a small little budget, threw a couple characters in there, pieced it together. Let's call it a Marvel movie, Spider-Man. I think they don't take a big risk with Spider-Man. I think maybe because I don't say they flopped, but let's say they did flop in the past. I think they kind of still a little bit gun shy. So there's not too much positives in the movie. If I had to kind of sum it up real quick, positives in the movie, there's a lot of diversity, minorities in the movie. Something different. Michael Keaton was great in the movie. His character was great. And Iron Man's in it for a little bit. So those are a couple things. I think just the negatives overpower the positives. I think it's just I'm not a director, I'm not a writer, I'm not any of that stuff. But if I was, or I was from a moviegoer standpoint or a movie watcher, you gotta balance it out. You can't give me all like high school drama. You gotta give me like 25% high school drama, 25% action comedy or something like that. It's just so much high school drama. If I was younger, maybe if I had kids that age or something like that, I can understand. But it's too much high school drama. Maybe if they titled it a little bit different, maybe, well, I can see why they didn't do it, because nobody would want to go see it. If it was like Spider-Man, Kid Spy or something like that, it would have been fine. I probably would have maybe went in with a different mentality. But when you're thinking, oh wow, Avengers, Spider-Man, big Marvel movie, it's just, it was just done pretty bad. And I'll sum it up real quick. I'll give it out of 10 out of a 10 rating. I'm gonna give it like a 5. I'm sure somebody's gonna come on here, and I'm glad and wish that they do comment and say, "Oh no, I thought it was like a 9 out of 10, best movie I've seen, best Spider-Man I've seen in a long time." Great for them. It's not my cup of tea. And I've seen tons of movie over the years, and the second Spider-Man with Jamie Foxx in it, that was terrible too. This is probably borderline the same thing. It's just, I personally would say that Spider-Man with Jamie Foxx might be one little hero line better than this movie. It's just, I don't know. I think it had a lot of potential, but I don't know. I feel like maybe they ran out of time and they just didn't really think it through all the way. But I'll leave it at that. Make sure you comment. I'll try and get an after credit scene up somehow, or maybe another video with that explained. And subscribe, because I'll have that video up soon. So if you don't want to miss it, I do have the clip. So I'll figure out how to do that without getting myself in trouble. All right, see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think.